Bet you weren't ready for a video essay this schizo popping up in your feed, were you? But it's true. Yoshikage Kira from Diamond is Unbreakable almost stumbles into how to revive a relationship that's on life support. At the outset of part 4, Kira lives an entirely solitary life and has a severely underdeveloped social life, his only girlfriends being the hands of women that he murdered. That ick's almost as bad as the fact that he's 5'11". Ugh. But once Jotaro and Koichi corner him at the tailor's, Kira is forced to abandon his daily routine, kill a local salaryman, and assume his life. Suddenly, this antisocial serial killer is dropped right into the middle of a crumbling marriage, and to continue his peaceful life in Moriocho, he has to play the role of a husband to avoid suspicion. And in pretending to be a good husband, Kira accidentally teaches us something about real relationships. Yes, I am about to give you relationship advice from a murderer, and it's gonna be killer. When Shinobu is first introduced, she admits that she married Kosaku without ever really falling in love. She just wanted the social perks of being with a man that her friends admired. But soon enough, the two of them fell into a dull routine. Husband and wife in name only, never really surprising each other or putting in any effort. This is a common mistake that plenty of people get caught up in relationships. They fall into a comfortable routine and decide to stop making any real efforts to improve themselves or attend to their relationships. And in a way, people have a tendency to feel that they've made it to the finish line in life after finding a stable relationship and are comfortable to coast on through life. But when relationships first start, most people don't fall in love with people content to live in a dull routine and put little to no effort into a relationship. They fall for someone who seems to almost expand their world and make them feel better about themselves, and gives them more to appreciate in life. Shinobu is lamenting the routine lack of effort within her marriage and feels like there's really nothing new to experience or expect. So when Kira first steps into the Kawajiri household, Shinobu decides not to cook dinner. She wants to force her husband to stew in the silence of her own resentment. And normally Kosaku would just slurp down his noodles in defeat and crawl back to bed. Shinobu feels like she knows all there is to know about her hardworking husband, and unfortunately, too much familiarity breeds contempt. But this isn't the same Kosaku Kawajiri she knew yesterday, literally. Instead, Kira makes himself a proper meal, turns on the radio, and brings some energy into the house that had been missing for years. For Shinobu, it's the first real spark of life that she's ever seen in the drudgery of her relationship. And the spontaneity continues when her formerly timid husband goes as far as to steal and pay the landlord's own money for rent. Finally, she decides to reciprocate the spontaneity by bringing him some tea before bed. She then starts getting ready for bed and is pleasantly surprised with what she sees as her husband being forward with her. For once in her tired marriage, she can't predict her husband's actions, and this spontaneity immediately floors her as she starts to fall in love with her husband after realizing there's a lot more to him than she previously thought. And ironically, this new murderous husband has a lot more spontaneity and vitality than her real one ever did. Now, the message here isn't that you need to impress your significant other by murdering or stealing, but by continuing to grow and have new things about yourself for your partner to appreciate. It's always something that can help a relationship. Seriously though, don't resort to crime to get your girl or guy back. On second thought though, that idea isn't so... Eventually, Shinobu gets spooked by a stray cat in the basement, a British Blue, with a circular hole in its neck. Panicked, she swings a broom at it and runs to her husband for help, and like any good husband would, Kira heads down, only to find the cat dead. Shinobu is devastated, and Kira actually comforts her. Even if a relationship is on the rocks, it always reassures people to have their partner be there for them in their time of emotional need. Too often, it becomes all too easy for people to view the emotional needs of their partners as a burden that they shouldn't be accountable for when they have so many grievances and issues that burden their heart and mind. But in being there for your partner, you signal a sort of permanency in an impermanent and chaotic world. A little care goes a long way. And later, when Stray Cat manifests stand abilities and attacks Shinobu, Kira even risks his life to protect her, and is genuinely worried about her well-being. The irony is that this fake marriage is pulling more empathy out of Kira, a complete sociopath, than he's ever shown before. Kira's developing attachment to Shinobu is illustrative of themes of connection, love, and fate that are central to Diamond Unbreakable's story. Just as everyone in the town is drawn to Josuke after being connected through the closeness of the town, Kira too experiences this same pull in his relationship with Shinobu, but we'll get a bit more into that later. And once again, Shinobu reciprocates Kira's support after he accidentally kills Hayato out of rage. Shinobu notices that something is wrong with her husband when she sees him freaking out in the bathroom, and makes an effort to check in on him and see what's on his mind. Now granted, he probably shouldn't have gotten emotional support for murdering his son in cold blood, but she didn't really know what he did, now did she? Ultimately, care begets care, and if you feel disconnected from your partner, sometimes the best place to start is just showing up and being there for them. Hey, quick interjection before the second chapter. I actually got Josuke Higashikata's Japanese voice actor to quickly tell you guys to like and subscribe. Without further ado, here he is. Finally, the most important thing in reviving Shinobu's relationship with her husband is the effort that both of them put in throughout the whole of Kira's stay in the Kawajiri household. When he was greeted to a cold welcome home, Kira put in the effort to make dinner for him and his new fake wife. Then Shinobu put in the effort of making him tea in return. Kira actually took time to protect and comfort Shinobu in the Stray Cat arc, and Shinobu likewise made time to check in with Kira when she noticed him having a panic attack. If anybody with a struggling relationship takes anything away from this crazy video, I hope that it would be this: reciprocated effort is the most important thing to a relationship surviving. Now, this effort doesn't just extend to treating your partner well, but even goes as far as putting an effort into being a better version of yourself. As love grows between Kira and Shinobu, they both start to put more effort into their appearance and into their roles in the household. As the Kawajiri arc goes on, Shinobu puts more effort into her hair and clothes, as does Kira once the Bites the Dust arc starts. In a way, by putting in effort to be a better version of yourself, you show your significant other that you care about making them proud to be with you. This all culminates in Kira finally giving Shinobu a kiss on the cheek before going into work. This means the world to her, and symbolizes the full love and care that has grown between the two through this whole arc. And if it weren't for Hayato's heroism, they likely would have unironically made a pretty good couple. And it's funny, because Kira was legitimately growing as a person emotionally due to his developing relationship with Shinobu, and shows that he wasn't immune to the draw of human connection present all throughout Morio. To be clear, Kira is an awful person, but maybe if he had experienced such a connection earlier on in his life, he could have actually been a healthy and normal individual who just so happens to have a hand fetish. I think the absurdity of Shinobu falling in love with a demented serial killer like Kira causes most people to view the Kosaku Kawajiri subplot in part 4 as Shinobu hating her husband and getting more with a different person in Kira. But I think that reading is missing out on the brilliant ironic message that Araki is conveying about maintaining a successful long-term relationship. You don't have to be killed, have your face ripped off and replaced by the guy she tells you not to worry about to be a new person to your significant other. You just need to bring spontaneity, show care, and put effort into both yourself and the relationship. That's how you bring a romantic spark back, by surprising and delighting your partner again and again. And if they reciprocate, I really do believe that any relationship can withstand the temptations and trials of life. And that's what is ironically poignant about Shinobu's story in part 4. She finally finds an authentic loving connection with her husband after such a long, arduous relationship, but is ignorant to the dark secret that underlies his new lease on life. And when Kira is righteously killed by the real MVP of part 4, an ambulance, only his original identity of Yoshikage Kira is reported dead. And so, Shinobu is left with one final cruel act of spontaneity. Her beloved husband vanishes without explanation, just as her marriage seemed so perfect.